We're prepared to show leadership at the National Cabinet level on renters' rights and other aspects of the relationship between landlords and tenants. There are issues with some of those models when it comes to housing supply and other issues, but I think the main point, which is at the very core of your question, is that these are largely matters for the states. And we've got our own broad and ambitious housing policy, housing agenda, including $2 billion for social housing
where did you find the money for that?
Over the weekend. Well, we've found the room in the budget to fund a big priority for us, which is build more social and affordable homes. It's disappointing that the Greens and the Coalition in the Senate don't agree with that.
But wasn't it the Greens that actually got you to announce it?
No, we thought that there was a case, given conditions in the housing market and the obvious need and the fact that we are having trouble getting the Housing Australia Future Fund through the Senate. There are other ways that we can build social and affordable housing for people. That's our objective. And at the end of the day, the permanent record of the Senate will show that when we tried to build even more social and affordable homes for people, the Greens joined up with the Coalition and voted against it.
Well, it seems like the Treasurer has finally listened to what the Greens have been saying for months. For months, we have been saying there is a better way of tackling the housing crisis than taking $10 billion and gambling it on the stock market and maybe spending some money on new houses after the next federal election. We don't do that with public schools. We don't do that with hospitals. We just spend public money on it. And we have been calling for months for the Treasurer and the Prime Minister to find money in the budget to spend on public housing now and to put money on the table to help states and territories freeze rents. We've been calling for that for months. And for months, the government has said it was impossible. And then over the weekend, Labor backflipped under Greens' pressure. So I welcome the fact that the government is now listening to the Greens and understanding that you can take money, instead of perhaps giving Clive Palmer a $9,000 a year tax cut, why not spend it on freezing rents instead? If Labor can find $30 billion a year in stage 3 tax cuts for the very wealthy, then they can find a few $1 billion a year in the middle of the worst housing crisis we've ever had to spend on building public housing. So finally, Labor is starting to listen to the Greens. Pressure has worked. And if Labor now wants to work with us to find more money in the budget to start spending on housing now and to fund a rent freeze and limits on rent increases, we're all for it.